Hey guys, Adrian here from digitaldojos.com. Today I'm going to be talking about the privatization of Dell, what it means, and kind of further explaining it. And this is obviously a correspondence with a blog post I'm writing. This is there's a blog post over at digitaldojos.com that I'm writing. So if you're watching this on YouTube, do me a favor, please take a second, check out the full article over at digitaldojos.com. And this video is kind of just further explaining the whole Dell privatization, what it means, and in the tech industry. Obviously, I've been a huge proponent of tech news. I love covering tech news, reading tech news, and one of my aims when writing and when making these videos is to further explain these topics that may some people may not understand. Just simplifying it essentially. And I don't claim to be an expert in any of this. I don't know all about this business stuff that's going on with the whole Dell deal, but I did want to kind of simplify it from what I do know. So Dell going private, what does that mean? Dell, essentially, a PC manufacturer, one of the few PC manufacturers that I actually, recommend out there. I used to recommend to customers when I was in tech repair. I guess, disclosure, I even worked with Dell early in my YouTube career. They let me do a campaign reviewing their Dell Studio lineup and Dell Minis. They did a lot of great stuff back in the day, and not to say that they aren't doing great stuff now, but they've been dwindling. And what it means for them to go private essentially is Michael Dell, the founder of Dell, along with Silver Lake, a investment firm, essentially a big name out there, bought back the company to buy back the company. So when a company is public, any company, people can invest, people can buy shares, buy stock in a company, and obviously, a business's main goal is to make money, make revenue. But at that point, when you're public, you're also adhering. You're taking your stockholders, your people who own shares in your company, into big consideration. You need to make sure that they're always happy, and you need to make sure profits are up, etc., etc. So for Dell, this $24.4 billion deal to buy back $700 million of Michael Dell's own personal cash was used in this deal. So obviously, he's making a big personal stake in this deal. $700 million of his own dollars for $24.4 billion investment to buy the company back. In a press release from Dell, Dell's stockholders are now getting $13.65 in cash per share that they own. So essentially, they're buying back the shares from the stockholders. Everybody's getting, again, that $13.65 back. And at a total estimation of $24.4 billion for this whole deal. Now, what happens, what this means for Dell? Dell's now in $15 billion of new debt, essentially. New debt that Michael Dell thinks is necessary. He thinks that essentially pairing up with Silver Lake, that this new deal and going private and buying the company back, one, he gets to maintain, more control over the company, of course. He gets to, not to say that he was at risk before. I mean, you can always say somebody's at risk of losing their job. There's looking back to people like Steve Jobs, who lost his CEO role at Apple. I mean, it's always possible, obviously, to lose your role, even in a high up position, even a founder. But now he has a big stake in this company, and whether or not this is a good deal, in my opinion, it's a gamble. It's a big gamble in this situation, this deal. But he, in a press release, he said that this is the next step. He thinks this is what Dell has to do, and he understands it's going to take more time, investment, and patience to kind of come out and really rebrand themselves. Essentially, this is what they're trying to do: rebrand themselves with this new deal. And it's interesting in a business now, a PC business that isn't even so much focused on PCs. What is Michael Dell to do? The big question now is, does he have another thing left in him by privatizing his company, by pretty much getting more control and of the company? Can he do something to really save it? Now, Dell is the third PC manufacturer in line right now in terms of PC market share, behind HP or behind Lenovo and HP. So in terms of Apple, for example, Dell has more PC market share than Apple does. There are personal computers, there's more Dells out there than there are Macs. But just because you see that number, take into perspective this: Apple is still worth more than Dell, and Apple still makes way more money than Dell. Because, for example, Apple's iPad market share, the tablet itself, has sold almost as more in revenues than Dell's whole product line. Just the iPad has almost made as much money as Dell's laptops, servers, desktops. I mean, we are, and we hear that term so much, the post-PC era. We're definitely moving into that post-PC era. We're moving into an era where people are buying more and more tablets and mobile phones and using these, more than desktops and laptops. So what does this mean? Dell is making a huge risk here: $15 million in debt, or $1 billion in debt, and risking all of this on on the privatization of the company, but still not tackling the idea of what is Dell going to do. Yeah, you bought back a company, but now they need to make that next step. They need to enter that whole mobile market. They need to compete on a level that these companies like Apple are doing. Um, and it's really interesting. I mean, Microsoft itself invested $2 billion to help Dell uh, buy back the company, essentially, because Microsoft has a huge stake in the PC manufacturing business, obviously. So essentially, they're getting into bed with Dell here because they do rely on that PC business. But again, we're moving so much into a post PC era. Can Michael Dell really come up with that next big thing to bring Dell back? I mean, we saw the Dell streak wasn't a huge success at all, or even a moderate success at that. Can Dell really come back in the mobile industry? Can they do something in the desktop industry? Can they do something in the PC era as a whole to really redefine themselves with this new deal? Or is this whole new deal a big gamble that's just going to make them more in debt and not even raise, not even, even though they're private now, they're a huge debt, and they still haven't solved the answer of what they're going to do to compete with the big companies out there, the big mobile industry out there. Really interesting topic, really interesting story. I hope I explained it further for some of you guys who are, lost in that area. What do you guys think? Was it a good idea for Dell to buy Michael Dell to make this investment and buy back Dell to privatize the company? And two, what can Dell do as a whole, as a brand, to rebrand themselves, to come back in an era where we're so is so dominated now by these mobile devices, tablets, phones, etc. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to read the full article. And if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.